eye-opener. They can't all be right. I've been trying to figure out what is going on with the war between Iran and Israel. Some news sources say Iran is kicking Israel's ass. Others claim that Israel has the upper hand. I listen to all manner of news sources, and the only way I think I can determine the truth, or at least determine what is closer to the truth, is to listen to mainstream media sources. I then believe the opposite of what these mainstream sources say. I feel confident with such a strategy because I know those mainstream news sources have lied about every report on war, of which they have provided to the public for decades now. Possibly before, but definitely since the Second Iraq War. You know, the one that deposed Saddam Hussein for weapons of mass destruction that were never found? The ones that George W. Bush jokingly professed he could find at a correspondence dinner. A dinner at which most, if not all, attendees laughed uproariously or obediently. I'm willing to give some of them the benefit of the doubt. By that I mean I'm willing to acknowledge their cowardice. Anyway, since then the evidence that mainstream media, or corporately owned media, has lied about every war, conflict, or intervention in which America has claimed to defend human rights, democracy, or American interests has mounted, exposing those reporters as liars, hypocrites, or cowards. For this reason, I tend to believe those news sources reporting the opposite as being closer to truthful. I don't think this is any great feat on my part, as reports about Israel being the victim tend to ring false, as they have been killing children, women, and men since the Nakba, since 1948. A link to the trailer about that atrocity is below. And then there's Trump's attacks on Iran. If Israel was kicking Iran's butt, why would Trump feel compelled to bomb Iran? When someone is winning a fight, there is no need to come to their aid, especially when your own country is falling apart. With the influx of millions of illegal immigrants and a tariff war from which America has had to step back from, the fact that America had to cave to the Houthis by agreeing to a mutual ceasefire with one of the poorest nations on earth. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we should have ever bombed Yemen. But what do I know? I think we should stop interfering in the affairs of other countries, at least until we get this country back on track. I think the American education system should be able to claim all high school graduates as being at a 12th grade reading level instead of an 8th grade reading level. I think it's the 12th grade, but this reading statistic shortcoming might be creeping into American colleges. I also think the number of homeless Americans, especially veterans, should be on the decline before the United States should try to force any of its policies, beliefs, or standards on any other country. Anyway, attacking Iran when Israel is supposedly winning that war feels more like part of a lie that American leaders are willing to tell the public. It feels like yet another war of which America will either tuck tail and retreat, lose interest, or outright lose. Regardless of which of these eventually proves true, few Americans will benefit from such actions. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because America is lost to artificial intelligence, as is the entire world, as I will soon document in the book I'm going to begin. For now, I will provide the working title: Evolution, Mankind's Role in the Advent and Rise of Artificial Intelligence. More details to come. Maybe we the people should demand our government use eminent domain to wrest the resources that are being made ever more scarce due to the hoarding of the rich. There are plenty of blogs, news, and websites reporting and complaining about our leaders and their failures. How many, however, are offering or even pointing to any solutions? The book Solutions, Enough Complaining, Let's Fix America by Chris Osmond does, and it can be found on Amazon or at www.mikesonsentertainment.com. To find out other ways you're being screwed by your current leaders, check out the posts on this blog daily. Learn about the biggest and worst issues that America and its people face today. You can also check into this blog daily to hear about those issues that America and its people will face in the near and distant future. If, however, you would like to discover possible solutions to either mitigate the worst impacts of these issues or solutions to avoid them altogether, keep listening. The problems we face are not as complicated as so many leaders and news reports claim. They are man-made and are only claimed as complicated so those who are responsible can maintain control. For example, there is a persistent argument that moving government is like turning a cruise ship around. It is supposedly a long process that can only be achieved incrementally. While this may be true for laws and policies that benefit the majority of Americans, it does not seem to be so for that smallest of American minorities. When one examines the policies and laws that benefit that minority known as the elite or the rich, the speed at which those laws are passed is exponentially faster. While most of us sit on the deck chairs waiting for the Titanic to avoid the myriad of icebergs of which we seem to continually run afoul, the elite ride comfortably in speedboats. If according to the Declaration of Independence all men are created equal, why do the rich live quite different lives than the rest of us? Where is our speedboat? In 2018, Chris Osman wrote a book highlighting the problems humanity would face if more power, wealth, and control were funneled to a small group of individuals, groups, or organizations. In that book, Mr. Osman provides solutions, offered up from himself and others, to the inevitable problems we would all face. In it, he also provided a means for the public to analyze, compare, and contrast the words and deeds of those we've chosen to follow against our real-world experiences. To this end, Mr. Osman provides the means for readers to disseminate information as provided by their news sources of choice, their elected officials, and any other authority they choose to follow. The book, titled Solutions, Enough Complaining. Let's Fix America offers a means to hold leaders up, not just to a higher standard than is currently accepted, but to one that will improve lives. America is the bully that piles on. Click the link below and get your copy of Solutions today.